Thank you very much, Diana, and everyone. Happy to have this meeting webinar with you. Okay, we are now going to have a speak on the ABC Mangrove project, a mangrove project restoration that have begun since 2022. The content of this presentation will be as follows. First, I will try to present the project context, like what is the main objectives and the location, mainly in Salum Delta and in Casamance. Also, some crucial part in carbon project, like to explain who is the landowner and also the land management in this special context of Senegal for this project. After the project context, we will try to explain and to make a focus on the implementation process from the prospecting activities since the monitoring, what we have done, and for each of them, the timeline of these activities. And then finally, we will end this presentation after with the validation process to show the methodology we used and what is the current status of this project. For the project context, this project, the ABC Mangrove Project, is located in two regions. The first one, it is the Sine Saloum Delta region, here, the center of Senegal. And the second one, it is located in Casamance region, Casamance estuary. What we have to precise is that in Senegal, we have 3 areas where mangrove is able to regenerate. The first one is here in Saint-Louis, the northern part of the country, but there the salinity and also the sand process is too high. That's why we didn't try to go there. So we are only working in Sine Saloum and in Casamance Delta. The project objective is to restore 7,000 hectares of degraded mangrove ecosystem that represent some birdland that we have identified for prospecting activities. For the details, the project started in 2022, and this year is the 4th year of planting. Like you have 4 years of plantation, and it is for technical aspect. It is an AFOLU project, and located in a wetland area. It is a WRC, a Wetland Restoration and Conservation Project. The project activity is then an ARR, NL, and RWE, afforestation, reforestation, and restoring wetland ecosystem. But why are we implementing this project? First of all, Alcott is a project developer for carbon purpose. It is obviously for having carbon credit to put it in the market. But we have to take into account that there is several disturbance in carbon in mangrove ecosystem since the high drought we faced in Senegal between 1970 and 1990. So we have a lot of natural causes for degradation of mangrove and also some anthropogenic causes. From natural causes, we have floodings, beside drought, we have dike construction, we have also high salinity rate. I have shown the 2 project areas like Saloum Delta and Casamance estuary. The Saloum Delta is a special one because it is, as we mentioned, it is an invest estuary. An invest estuary, more farther you are going from the ocean, the more the salinity is. So it is very, very risky for, and also very difficult for mangrove to thrive in this kind of condition, like the delta, the Saloum Delta. The salinity rate can reach sometimes 90 grams per liter. For mangrove to thrive, it is important to have a salinity rate less than 60 grams per liter. We have also a sea level rise and also some coastal erosion factors. We meet also some anthropogenic. We are in a condition where local communities have right of use to collect dead wood for domestic activities. So we face, despite these factors, logging for timber, they are making construction and also cooking, especially for fuming fish. There are also agricultural expansion like rice cultivation, overuse of resources, and also oyster collection. You can see in this picture some oyster that grab the roots of mangroves, and the fact is that these oysters are very difficult to collect, so they used to cut the roots of those mangrove, go back with them at home, boil them, and try to open these oysters. That is very dangerous also for the survival of the mangrove ecosystem. Selection of species. In West Africa region, we have at least 8 mangrove species, some rhizophoras, among them Rhizophora mangle, racemosa, and arisoni, who is an hybrid between Rhizophora mangle and Rhizophora racemosa. And also white Avicennia, white mangrove, we used to call them. It is Avicennia with special roots. We have two kinds, Avicennia africana and Avicennia germinates. We have also some Combretaceae and some Pteridaceae. That in this project, especially what we have done so far, it is only the reforestation of these three species, Rhizophora mangle, Rhizophora racemosa, and Rhizophora arisoni. We have tried Avicennia, but since we don't have a lot of success on it, and we are still looking for people with more experience and more success rate on that. What about the landowner and the land management? We have to precise that in Senegal, the land are public. The state is then the owner of the land, and in the environmental sector, it is represented by the Ministry of Environment and Ecological Transition. At the ministry, we have many departments. One of them is specialized for climate change activities or carbon sequestration or emission reduction. It is the Directorate of Climate Change, Ecological Transition, and Green Financing, who is, as we used to call, the DNA, the designated authority, who represent the state in discussion and also collaboration related to climate change or carbon prospect. But the land management, those lands that are belonging to the state are managed by technical services. One of them, and the most important in this project, is the Department of Marine Protected Area. I can say that 70% of the project area is located in the Department of Marine Protected Area. We also have the Department of Water and Forest, Hunting and Soil Conservation, and also the last one, National Park Directorate. We also have to mention that since 2013, we have a law, a decentralization law, who, besides that, the reforestation operation are a responsibility transferred to municipality. It is like an activity that rural communities have to do, but they are located in a land managed by the state. In those areas, ALCOT and the Ministry of Environment have established like a convention in which they have defined how to make these reforestation practices and also establish a benefit sharing mechanism to see what and how we will make the repartition, the share process of the carbon credit we will have from these activities. Let's now visit the implementation process. What we have done to make this project a reality. What we used to do at the beginning of each year, like from February and March, since February, March, April, it is like the most difficult period of the year for mangrove ecosystem, because it is like we are in the dry season and during the dry season, the transpiration of water is very high. The salinity also is very high. So in that period, you can make a site visit, try to identify if you make a plantation, it can survive or not. That's why we used to make prospection and planting areas during from February to April. We make also some training activities, and after training activities, we launch a workshop to explain all the activities and all the planting process. And after that, during the rainy season, from July to October, it is based on planting activities in Salum Delta and in Casamance. Let's now explain in detail the prospection of planting area. The prospection of planting area, as I mentioned before, we used to do it in the dry season. And what we have done, it is thanks to our cartographer, Maktarfal, used to make like an identification by cartography. We try to identify some eligible area. Those eligible area have to meet some criteria. According to VCS standard, those area should not meet the definition of forest. The surface area should be more than 0.5 hectares. The cover rate should be less than 10%. And also, for additionality purpose, we have to check if this area has been the same last year before. So we make like a cartography of two maps. If we are working in 2024, we will check 2014 and to see if there is no change in the area. That is very important to show the additionality of the activity we are doing. Also, last one thing, we have to check the uniqueness of the carbon credit. By uniqueness, I'm trying to say that there is a lot of carbon developer as Alcott in Senegal and in the market, and they are working in those areas. We have to check if those partners or those actors are working in the same area of that. So we cannot claim for the same carbon credit in the same area. After all those cartography activities, we used to have an on-field site visit, with local technical services like marine protected area, water and forest, and national park, and also with some local actors like fishermen and some people involved in agricultural practices. Because sometimes you can identify an area that is very good for mangrove plantation, but some fishermen used to make some practice of fishing there. So it is very important to identify them. If you didn't go with them, they will be maybe have some catching practices after the planting season. So then we have to check the ecological condition of the land, the occupation by other project developer, as I mentioned, to have the uniqueness of carbon credit. Land accessibility also, it is very important. Sometimes you can see an area that is bare, but it is covered by mangrove trees. The question is now, is it worth to cut mangrove trees to have access to a bare land to make reforestation? That is very, very complicated sometimes to answer. After the prospecting activities, we hold like a workshop. We used to have like two workshops in Salum Delta in Casamance estuary. In Salum Delta in Casamance estuary, we used to invite local communities, the mayor, the technical services, and also those technical services, they are working with management committees. Those management committees are representing the local population. They are all gathered there, and we will try to discuss what activities we are going to implement for this year. Where are we going to make the plantation, and what communities are the most suitable to make those activities, and what kind of mean do they need for that. So we will also discuss the budget and the means of these activities. We will have an agreement and we will sign agreement. As you can see, the manager of Alcott Senegal, Ousmane Farsar, was signing a contract between him and the technical services. There is also one thing very important is to try to have and to use some safety measures. And so we used to have also like a training of on safety at work study, because we are using both to join some site, and sometimes they are working very late or very early. So we have established some measure that they should respect. Also, sometimes also we face some young actors less than 15 years trying to come to work with us in those activities. So we have established some rules to avoid young people to work in the mangrove. We have identified risk identification, preventive and protective measure. So we will have like 2 or 3 people able to help in case of any incident in these activities or during the traveling from the boat to the site to make the reforestation. Besides those activities, we also, at the beginning of the project, we have uh, set up like a project environmental impact assessment. It is related to the deck with the national designated authority. Before this kind of project, they ask to make like an environmental impact assessment, and also a socioeconomic study to try to see what are the main expectations of the rural communities. And this those two activities are related with the national entities, the project environmental impact assessment and the socioeconomic study. At at regional level with technical services, each year we have established like an environmental restoration plan. This environmental restoration plan is a document relying Alcott and the local technical services. In that document, we have established all those activities we will plan to do in this reforestation campaign, like where are located the the reforestation site, what is the budget for the activities, and what kind of species they should use and how to do it. And also all the planning for these activities is mentioned in the environmental restoration plan. We make also social awareness campaign for each year with our social expert. The benefit sharing mechanism is discussed uh, currently with the Ministry of Environment. We have a grievance mechanism that we have established in some very well-known place like the headquarters of the technical services, the mayor also. So if in the activities there are some local communities who want to claim something, they can go have a paper and try to make some grievances there. This is some pictures showing the propagule selection in Salum Delta, and this is the planting process. There is one video there. The, the density of plantation is 5,000 hectares, 5,000 plants per hectare. So they use to be like 2 meters between peoples, and each 1 meters you have to plant a propagule. Each 1 meters you have to plant a propagule. That is the process they use to do. Now here some pictures from the site in 2022. This was the very first year of the plantation. As a result of all those activities, we have planted so far, after free reforestation campaign, 5,500, more than 5,500 hectares. It is like 500, 600, 600 hectares. The first year it was 2022, 1,000 hectares. In 23, 2,000 hectares. In 24, 2,100 hectares. So now in 2025, last year of planting, it remained 1,500 hectares to reach the objective of the project, which is 7,000 hectares. We will try to have more because we face a lot of problems related to mortality, related to overlapping with other carbon project, but also with overestimation of some reforested area. So we will try to have this year 2,000 hectares to face this kind of risk. After the planting activities, after the plantation, we have established like some follow-up work, installation of permanent plot for monitoring. Between Salum and Casamance, we have established 27 plots, 10 in Salum and 20 and 17 in Casamance. In those plots are constituted of 25 meters square. We will check the salinity. Important to see if it is above 60 grams per liter, still good for mangrove to thrive. The mortality rate also, we will check it by counting the survival. The phenotypic status, the plantation density, it should be around 5,000 plants per hectare. The plant growth also, we will check it. And also we will check the limit of the area. Our cartographer, Maktab, we will try to see, to have like a drone plan. And after the planting, the technical services used to use the GPS and give us like the result of the planting activities. But now what we are trying to do is to check with the drone if it is exactly what they have reported, or if there is difference in for taking into account. We have also established like a baseline soil analysis. We are trying to see at the beginning of the project, what is the carbon sequestration in the soil? So after the period of verification, we will try to see what is the add value of the project in the baseline soil, in the soil and in the soil content, in the carbon soil content. We also have established a biodiversity qualitative study by a DNA analysis. We have selected some samples and make an analysis, try to see what are the main species living in those areas. And there is a lot of species that we have found. So this is a practical case of the establishment of the permanent plot, the 25 meter square in Casamance. With our drone, we try to check if the surface area we have received from technical services are correct or not, if there is corrective measure needed or not. These are pictures from the soil analysis. For the soil analysis, we are working on two depths, 30 centimeter and 30 centimeter, 100 centimeters. So we have make some samples, and now at the laboratory they are making some analysis to try to identify what are the content, the carbon content for each depth. This is the picture showing the DNA collection first at your left, and some result of the DNA result of some species that we found on the project area. A lot of eukaryotes, vertebrates, fishes also. Yeah. So we have found like more than 100 families, 100 genus, and like 93 species. At the end, we will talk about the validation process. We are working with Vera and the CCB standard. The methodology is based on the 33 for tidal wetland and seagrass restoration, with two particularities: evaluation of the sea level rise and calculation of allochthonous carbon. So we have hired a firm to try to identify what will be the impact of the sea level rise in our project. And based on three scenarios, we have found that the first one will be around 8% degradation between 2025 to 100. It will be 8%. 10% or 11% of the project area that we can lose. Estimation of carbon credit, what we have calculated, it's around 3 million VCU that we have based on the growth model, the allometric equation, the sea level rise also deduction, the sea level rise deduction. Also, we have deducted the electronics carbon. We have also put a buffer of a risk buffer according to Vera standard. It was like 15%. And for all these activities is based on the crediting period of 40 years. For the elaboration process, for the validation process, after the PD elaboration, and also the site visit of the VVB that we held on last September, we have received the findings and given the documentation to Vera by December. So now we have completed the validation process. After all this work, it's very important also to mention that we are facing and we continue to face a lot of challenge. Among them, there are some ecological aspects. Some technical services used to raise the fact that we are planting three genus of Rhizophora racemosa, arisoni, and mangle, as I showed before. But what we don't take into account is that in natural regeneration, they used to have like a position in the site, but we didn't take into account this kind of position. Like Rhizophora mangle should be the first one in direct contact with the sea after Rhizophora arisoni and after Rhizophora racemosa. But it is very difficult, as you can see, the propagules is very difficult to identify who is Rhizophora mangle, who is Rhizophora arisoni, and that is the main challenge of that. Additional reforestation, as we are working with a CCB label, it's important to have an add value of biodiversity, but we have tried since 2 years to implement Avicennia nursery, but after planting, we didn't succeed yet to have it. So we are still looking for people with very high experience and success rate with Avicennia reforestation. On an institutional level, we are facing also some overlapping activities with other carbon project developer like Reforest. Sometimes after the planting season, we are both claiming the same area, and that is very complicated. And after that, we used to send our shape file to Vera, and we get feedback that we are all working in the same area. That is very problematic for all of us. But the technical services don't have a lot of means to make these things more simple. There is also the achievement of the conditional target in Senegal. The conditional target of mangrove restoration is 1,200 hectares per year, but it is difficult for the state to achieve that activity. So it will be a carbon developer like Alcott who will help them to establish it. In our benefit sharing mechanism, we will have like a 5% of our carbon credit to help them in order to achieve these objectives. On technical and operational way, there are also a lot of problems because there is difficulties linked to monitoring, because we have 7,000 hectares, but they are sometimes very small areas. They are scattered and very, very far. So the monitoring process should be quite challenging also. There is also the fact that we are trying now to check the planting surface area. With our drone, we have noticed that sometimes the technical services, the information we received from them are not very precise. So it is also a way to work on it. And to end, there is a large number of coming in, like 24. That is the real the consequence of the numerous reforestation plots. So we have 24 municipalities, and those 24 municipalities will be all beneficiaries of the benefit sharing mechanism. So we will have a lot of people to talk with and to share the carbon benefit. That is the summary of the presentation.